In the previous two lessons, we covered the standard minor drop progression, which for decades has been used and in some cases abused by countless songwriters in a variety of styles. Great examples being the intro to Stairway to Heaven, the chorus of Shine On You Crazy Diamond by Pink Floyd, Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce, the intro to Michelle by the Beatles, and the song Something by the Beatles, and also Into the Great Wide Open by Tom Petty, and the jazz standard My Funny Valentine, to name a few. And as you recall, the progression begins on a minor chord, and then the next chord is a minor major 7 or an augmented triad rooted a half step below. And then it goes to a minor 7 and then a minor 6, or it goes to the 4 chord. I'd now like to show you another popular and widely used winning chord progression, minor drop type of progression. This one skips that second chord. So it goes from the minor chord and then it goes to a minor 7, or you can have it in the bass line. But we'll look at primarily within the chord voicing. And it's a very useful progression. It's been used in a lot of songs, as we shall see. And it skips over that second chord, which is less brazenly cliche. Off the top of my head, I would say 3 classic songs that utilize the progression I'm talking about are Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You by Led Zeppelin, While My Guitar Gently Weeps by the Beatles, and 25 or 6/4 by Chicago. These songs share in common. They all start on an A minor chord, either played or implied in the case of the Chicago song. And then the bass line drops. So we have, so it's A minor over G. I just added the pinky, and then I'm using the pinky to also mute the open A string. And then D9 over F sharp, and then F major 7 or F major. You can just play like that with the thumb. And maybe if you don't hit the high E string, then it just makes it F major. So in While My Guitar, this is a basic way to play it. D9 over F sharp. And then it goes to G, D to E. Very nice progression. And in Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, Jimmy Page does a similar thing, but he arpeggiates it and he plays it fingerstyle, but I'm gonna play it with a pick here. And then he drops this down. Okay, now he did it a little different. Instead of playing A minor over G, he played C over G, which is a simpler sound, and it's just as pleasing. Yeah, he has these little melodic embellishments. And then D over F sharp. That makes it D7 over F sharp, and then a straight F to E, using the thumb. Page, like Hendrix and so many other players, like to use their thumb. So in this case, we're doing the 1 chord, 1 minor, and then C over G, which is like the 1, 7, and then D over F sharp, D7 over F sharp, and then F, and then we're touching upon the 5 chord. Okay, that's another great way to play it. And another good example, a similar example in a different key, in the key of B minor, is the Styx song, Sweet Madam Blue. And that starts in B minor, and then it drops, the bass drops down, it doesn't go to the, it just goes right to the flat or minor 7th. And they add the 4th there, that's really nice. And then, so that's a similar arpeggiation pattern to Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, but it goes down, or it ascends. It goes up, then it goes back down. B minor, and then pretty, adding that, add 4. B minor over A, add 4, and then B minor, add 4 over G sharp, which may also be thought of as G sharp minor 7 flat 5. Actually, you're flat 5, flat 6. There's a flat 6, and then G major 7th. Notice again the common tones here. I'm doing that for emphasis. Beautiful. Another great example is the Stevie Wonder song, All in Love is Fair. Da, 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 do. Da, 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 do. beautiful. But it starts out with D minor and then D minor over C. You know, not D minor over C sharp. That's the more cliche, the more typical minor drop. D minor over C, D minor over B, which may also be thought of as B minor 7 flat 5, and then B flat, and then it moves on from there. Now, getting back to the key of A minor for a second, I mentioned earlier 25 or 6/4. Guitarist Terry Kath did something interesting here. He just implied the chords. Sometimes it's cool, it's just as valid, or sometimes better to not play any chords at all, but just imply it using strummed octaves. I'm playing octave A's on the 6th and 4th string, but I'm also intentionally muting the unused 5th string, so. Notice when I get to this string, I have to use the tip of the pinky to mute the A string. You don't want to include that A with those E octaves. The progression that's implied there is the same as Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. In fact, on Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, in the heavy part, the heavy chorus comes toward the end. I think in the electric part, in his slightly dirty electric guitar part, Jimmy Page plays double octaves. Or like. You can see there's some great videos of early Zeppelin from like 1969 on YouTube. They're black and white, really grainy videos, but you can see them playing that song, and Page is playing the whole thing on an electric, on his Telecaster, and he's just rocking out. You know, so on the last one on the E, I didn't attempt to include the open high E string because I would have gotten all these other strings, which would have made it E minor. So sometimes it's better to just drop back and, you know, avoid trying to include too much. Which reminds me, I had a jazz arranging professor in college who emphasized that just because you have all this harmony at your disposal, like you have a big band and you can play all these complex chords all the time, that's not always the coolest thing to do. Sometimes the coolest, the most badass sounding thing to do is to just play a melody in like octaves or double octaves or triple octaves. You know, like Jungle Boogie or something like that. You know, just play it in octaves, or like any like great Zeppelin stomp riff, The Ocean or Black Dog or something, right? Now here's the same thing in E minor. Okay, I'm going to show you some different ways to play this flat 7 minor drop progression. Well, that's convenient, right? You can do that. You can B7 to E minor. So you can either play that D note open, or you can play it at the 5th fret, and either double that D note or mute it. I would say mute it because you're definitely going to want to mute it on the next chord. That's C major 7, I'm sorry, that's C sharp minor 7 flat 5, which can be just thought of as E minor over C sharp, and then C major 7, B7 as your 5 chord, leading you back to the 1. An example that comes to mind for that is the end of Iron Man, right? The Black Sabbath. Now, Tony Iommi and bassist Geezer Butler are just playing, and then Tony's playing while Geezer goes down to C sharp, so it's, and then the bass goes, and the guitar goes, so you have, you know, with the bass going, and it's, again, an implied progression. The changes there are I actually play this song in a band with my wife and 2 adult sons, and my son Alex and I harmonized the lead on that. This is getting off track here for a second. When he goes, I go. So we get that, which actually creates a different kind of sound. It's almost like a B minor sound. Sounds great with two guitars. Another great example, now this is a keyboard. I'm getting into some keyboard stuff, but it's very popular, familiar stuff, is the intro to Dream On, which I believe is written by Steven Tyler on the piano. It's one of my favorite songs in terms of harmonic richness. Now that's originally in F minor, but if you do it down a half step in a more guitar-friendly key of E minor, actually I play the song, I put a capo at the first fret, and I can hit these open strings. There's your flat 7 minor drop, right? And then you have a common tone on the bottom. And then the top goes. Beautiful. See, you can do this. I actually have a whole solo guitar arrangement of that worked out, which I'll show you one of these days. And a more full-blown version of that would be the E minor chord like that, and you could play, this would be like the pre-chorus of Dream On. Or you could play the D there. Sing for laughter. Actually, it goes back to D, but E minor, just for today, right here. C sharp minor 7 flat 5. C major 7 flat 5, you could do that. Notice I'm fretting the high string with the base of my index finger. Kind of like a slant, not even a bar. Or you could do that, and then go to your 5 chord, B. Brings you back to your 1 minor, E minor. And here's another useful set of chord voicings for the flat 7 minor drop. The D minor one, I showed you earlier for All in Love is Fair by Stevie Wonder. It's D minor over C, B minor 7 flat 5, B flat major 7. That's nice because there are no open strings involved, so you can move it up and down the neck to different keys. Beautiful song. Now, other keyboard examples, Piano Man, Billy Joel. Sing us a song, The Piano Man, and it goes to the bridge. You got A minor, it's either A minor over G or C over G. And then, kind of like Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, and then F. And another good one, Billy Joel, Oh, She's Always a Woman to Me. I played this capo 3. It's a piano-driven song, but it's in E flat, but you can play it as if it were in C. And then on a bridge, oh, she takes care of herself. Beautiful changes. And that's, again, it's just looking at it in terms of open chords. And then it resolves to G. The actual chords here, concert key, would be C minor, and then E flat over B flat, and then F7 over A, resolving to B flat. And then in the second part of the bridge, he goes up a minor third. C minor, I play it like this, C minor 7. And she never gives out. Beautiful changes. I love that. That's like, to me, that's like Beethoven or Chopin, man. Billy Joel, one of the great songwriters. So that's C minor 7, E flat over B. Again, that's a nice voicing. F9 over A, and then resolving to B flat. So this concert pitch names for those chords would be E flat minor 7, G flat over D flat, and A flat 9 over C, resolving to D flat. So there you have some useful sets of chords that you can move all over the neck. And the challenge as a songwriting guitar player is to try to borrow them, steal them, but put your own creative stamp on it. Do something slightly different, put a twist on it, and make it your own.